All right, guys, what's going on? So today we are going to be talking about broke friends and why you need to stop hanging with your broke friends if you have any. Not everybody has broke friends, but if you have any, today we're going to be talking about why you need to stop hanging with them, right? Now, as young people, I think this is something that probably a lot of people deal with, and not everybody probably thinks about it in the way that I do, I guess. I'm sure most young people are not thinking like, yo, I need to stop hanging out with my mans or whatever because he don't make enough money. And that's not exactly what I'm saying here. It's more of a mindset thing that I'm getting at, right? And that's what I want to talk about today pretty much, right? So, like I said, most young people, like I said, in general, we're not rich. So I don't want to make it seem like if your friend is not rich, that you need to stop being friends with them because that's just simply not fair to say. And that's not what I'm trying to say. Again, like I said, it's a mindset thing, right? So the first point that I've written here on the whiteboard for you guys is that you pick up their bad habits. So if you hang out with people that are broke, right? And I'm gonna keep this in the financial realm because that's primarily what I talk about. But if you hang out with people that are broke, right? You're gonna pretty much adopt this mindset of not saving money, for one. That's probably gonna be the biggest thing. And you're generally gonna probably spend money a lot more recklessly than people who come from successful friendships, like people who hang out with people who have financial habits, right? So you're gonna start to copy how they move without even realizing it. And that's just the nature of like having friends. They tell us like you're like an average of the three people you hang out with the most. So it makes sense. Like the people you hang out with the most are gonna influence how you think, especially as it relates to money. Because like if you see them if they got a Mercedes on the car loan or whatever, you're gonna probably think it's acceptable to do the same thing, right? So that's the first point. Mindsets, habits around life rubs off on you. Like I just said, they gonna have a Mercedes. They pull up, yo, bro, I got the new whip. You walk outside, you look at the whip, and you start getting jealous. Like, dang, I want a Mercedes. So then you think it might be a good idea to take out a car loan or something for a Mercedes. And this might be a weird example, but you get what I'm saying though. Like they're rubbing off on you in a negative way when it comes to your finances because you see how they act and you think it's the right thing to do. And, I don't think it's fair to say, again, I'm gonna keep reiterating this because I don't think it's fair to say people who have poor habits are not worthy of being friends, right? But let's say you're watching this and you're somebody who comes from a friend group or is in a relationship, etc. You know people that don't have the best habits, right? You need to be somebody who can help them. Like maybe I should have rephrased this, not stop hanging with broke friends. Maybe try to help your broke friends. Now, if they don't want to take the advice and then they continue to adopt the mindset that's going to eventually lead them down a path of non-wealth and being broke, then you might want to stop being friends with them, But overall, it's a mindset thing. So mediocrity becomes normal. Broke circles kill urgency. So when you hang out with people that are broke, not only do you adopt this mindset around spending money in general of like, oh, I could just spend whatever, it's no big deal. Money is money. You also lose a sense of urgency as it relates to your life in general. And I feel like, again, they say you're like the average of the three people you hang around. So when you're around people who don't really do anything, you start to think it's acceptable to not do much. Like, let's just use the basic example. So I'm a black dude, right? Like, let's just use the example of like dudes who grow up in an inner city environment and they don't have like the best upbringing. They see people who like don't go to college, they don't prioritize education, they might not read a lot, you know what I mean, etc. So they don't really prioritize like their careers and making a lot of money in this world. So as a result, this is a very high level example, but as a result, you're gonna probably be somebody who does the same thing. You're gonna be okay with working a low end job. You're gonna be okay with like just having enough, never a surplus, just enough. And overall, just hanging around people that are poor with their money and generally not even just their money. I guess you can relate the whole life thing to their money, but that mindset will hold you back. You stop feeling behind when everybody else is. So if you have nobody that's like trying to better themselves, there's like no competition. And especially as men, if you're a man watching this, it's like we need competition. Like I'm not saying you need to be like aggressively competitive against your friends. Of course not. But we know what I'm saying here. Like competition in a good way. Nobody pushes each other to do more. You get comfortable. So like I just said before, if everybody's on the same type time, nobody's doing anything different, or nobody is at least trying to motivate the group to do anything different or achieve financial prosperity. Because again, we're talking about money. That's what's important for us young people to keep in mind. We're talking about money. So if there's nobody that's trying to motivate the group and nobody that's actually doing anything that is not mediocre, everybody gets comfortable. And then as a result, once you're comfortable, you don't want to really get out of that comfortability. You know, it's hard for people to step out of their comfort zone and be like, I need to stop hanging out with these people. Or again, it's not even a matter of like completely not hanging out with them, but it's like, I need to stop thinking like them. I need to have a different mindset. It's hard for a lot of people to do that, you know? And I guess that leads me to my next point. You minimize yourself. So let's say you're somebody who's watching this and you actually do like recognize that the habits that you might have or that the people around you might have aren't the best, right? You might actually recognize those things, but you still might struggle to actually break out of that bubble, that comfort zone, like I just said, because it's like you're comfortable. If that's all you know, and even if you know like the grass could be greener on the other side, you could actually have some bread in your pocket. If you adopt a different mindset around money, it might be hard for you to motivate your friends to think like that, because the reality of life is that you can't really get everybody to think how you think. So, you know, if you like are somebody who actually does, or you do recognize, yo, we gotta change how we think about money if we actually want to get rich, y'all boys, or something, just on some low level stuff, but you don't ever like find a way to get out of that bubble or bring it up in a way where you can become a leader, etc. You just stay minimized, and that's why I say you minimize yourself. You just start to accept what it is, because nobody likes to be lonely. Most people don't want to just lose their friends. So it's not like you want to just become different just to do it. It's like most people don't want to do that. So as a result, they minimize themselves. You dumb down who you are. You eventually will have resentment. Now, I sort of feel like this doesn't apply to everybody. But like I said, this really does apply to somebody who I feel like if you're a person who recognizes that your friends or anybody who you spend significant time around is like holding you back when it comes to your finances, but those are still your homies and you damn near like have an obligation to be with them type shit, then you're gonna start to feel like, bro, what are you doing? And this is why I mean, you can't minimize yourself, bro. You have to be a leader when it comes to your finances. Try to motivate your broke friends. Don't just cut them off because they broke. Try to motivate them, you know what I mean? Then the last point, pretty much wrapping all of these up, is that if you're hanging out with people who just generally have a poor mindset around money, there's no pressure on you to grow. No pressure equals no growth. And again, I think this is especially relevant to men. If you are a young man watching this, having people around you who apply pressure on you to be better in all aspects of life, but again, we're talking about money. So who apply pressure on you to be better with your money, you need that. Like that's how people build empires of wealth. You think families that are like rich, like you think they don't all mingle about and talk about the current tax laws and finances? Like it's a mindset. And if you don't have that mindset, and again, even if you do have the mindset, it's about the people around you, because that does matter. So I'm saying like you need people who will challenge you. You should not feel comfortable being mediocre around your friends. And what I mean by that is that like you shouldn't feel comfortable just like let's say y'all hanging out or something. Like you shouldn't be comfortable flexing that you're broke, or like waking up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon texting your boy or something like that. Like again, it's a general mindset that you have to have. And if your friends are comfortable with that mindset as well, then they're still holding you back. You might not realize it. Excuse me if I'm sweating, it's hot in here. But you might not even realize it. Like you need people who are gonna hold you accountable. You should be holding yourself accountable, but you also need people around you who can do that as well. So, end it with a quote: your circle is either your elevator or an anchor. You choose, because the people around you really do make a difference. If you decide to hang around people who care about you, who have your best interests, who actually want to see you win with money, especially as young people, because we are in our prime building years of life. So it's very important that we take our lives serious right now, right? So if you hang around people who also prioritize having a good life financially in general, but financially, that's what we're talking about, then you can have a great life. Hang around people who don't, they're gonna pull you down as an anchor. And that's pretty much it. So Appreciate you if you made it all the way to the end of this video. And as always, it's been your boy Brandon Davis. I'm out.